So eventually, we want to turn ourselves into a larger high tech manufacturing economy. But here's the problem: you cannot build all of that with factories alone. You need critical minerals, lithium for batteries, cobalt, rare earth elements for everything from electronics to clean energy technologies and defense system. And Australia happens to be one of the world's great mineral powers. And now think of the equation. So India has a massive market, a huge workforce, growing manufacturing capacity and enormous demand coming over next few decades. Australia has resources, technology and access to global supply chain. So one has what the other increasingly needs. But minerals are only half of the story. Now look at the map. India sits at the center of Indian Ocean and Australia sits between Indian and Pacific Ocean. So this entire region has become one of the most important strategic spaces in the world. And that is why India and Australia are no longer just the countries that play cricket together. Their militaries are exercising together, the navies are cooperating. Australia is participating in Malabar naval exercise with India, Japan, and United States. So both the countries are part of Quad. Now, obviously, China is part of this equation, but here's where people oversimplify it. India and Australia are not just getting closer because both do not like China. So China remains economically important to both the countries. The bigger lesson here is about dependence. The last few years have already taught countries something uncomfortable, that if your energy, your minerals, technology, and supply chains depend too heavily on one country, you are going to pay for that. And an economic relationship can actually quickly turn into a strategic vulnerability, and India does not want that. So look at what India is doing. Russia remains important to us. America is important. France, Japan, you name a country and that is important. And increasingly, Australia is becoming important. So different countries, different interests, different partnership, and that is actually not confusing. That is what is strategic autonomy is. And India does not need one country to provide everything. It needs enough strong partnerships that no single country becomes indispensable. And that's why Australia matters to us as a country, not because India suddenly found a new best friend, but because the India we are trying to build is a manufacturing power and a technology power, which is a major Indo-Pacific power, needs secure resources, resilient supply chains, and strong maritime partners. So yes, China matters in India-Australia relationship, but China is only half of the story, and the full story is that India is making sure that its future is never dependent on just one country. If this helped, follow for more. Jai Hind.